When children paint, beside developing their small motor skills, they are also developing their A. Large motor skills, B. Sense of sight, C. Sequencing skills, D. Transitioning skills. Answer: B. Sense of sight. Children need opportunities to develop their senses. Painting can help them develop their sense of sight, but seeing bright colors, the differences in colors and how the colors look when mixed together. You have an open house and a potential parent asks you the goals of your program. You should A. Tell that parent to speak to the director. B. Give her a pamphlet. C. Tell the goals are different for each teacher. D. Share the goals with her and be able to answer any questions she might have. Answer: D. Share the goals with her and be able to answer any questions she might have. The goals of the program are important for each employee to know and adhere to when planning for their classroom. Parents and potential parents may be interested in knowing these goals, and each employee should be able to share them with confidence. You set up several centers around the room. When it is center time, you should A. Assign children to a center for the afternoon. B. Assign children to centers and rotate them every 20 minutes. C. Allow children to move freely between the centers. D. Open only one or two of the centers to the students at a time. Answer: C. Allow children to move freely between the centers. A teacher who is respectful of her students' individuality will allow them to move freely through centers or specialty areas, exploring, playing and experimenting on their own terms. Children can stay longer at centers that interest them and move on from the ones that do not hold their interest that day. Which of the following is not an emotional or social developmental issue? A. Separation anxiety. B. Sexual identity. C. Fluency. D. Making friends. Answer: C. Fluency. Developmental language skills include phonemic awareness, fluency and processing. Social and emotional developmental issues include separation anxiety, sexual identity, willfulness, making friends, and dependency. You have sand in your water table and Jose doesn't want to put his hands in the sand. He seems uncertain about this texture. You should A. Tell him he must participate or he will miss recess. B. Encourage him to try on his own terms. C. Tell him you're sorry he's so scared and there is nothing to be afraid of. D. Tell his friends that he is scared and have them encourage him to try. Answer: B. Encourage him to try on his own terms. Many children this age will be fearful of new experiences or new sensations. If you have a student who is fearful of any situation, encourage them to try, but never point out to their peers they are scared, put them on the spot or punish them for not wanting to try. Your assistant is out today and there is no substitute. There are also a few students out, so you are actually only one student over ratio. What is the best way to handle this? A. It's only one student, make the best of it today. B. Let your director know you are out of ratio and work with her to find an acceptable solution. C. Send one of the students to the class next door. D. Combine with another class. Answer: B. Let your director know you are out of ratio and work with her to find an acceptable solution. Each child care center will have its own policies for how to best handle when a classroom is out of compliance. However, the best course of action is to always keep your director informed so he can make an informed decision for her center. To limit the number of children who can participate in each learning center, you should A. Remind the students every morning during circle time. B. Use classroom furniture such as toy shelves to create natural boundaries. C. Only put 2 to 3 toys in each center. D. Require students to ask permission to enter each center. Answer: B. Use classroom furniture such as toy shelves to create natural boundaries. By using classroom furniture and rugs, you can create inviting areas for your students and easily limit the children who can play in each of the center's larger areas for more students, like blocks and manipulatives, and smaller areas for quiet centers. You can also have the students sign up to use the center, limiting sign-ups to the number of children you want in each. During drop-off this morning, your classroom teacher is meeting with your director and you are alone in the room. As the parents are signing the children in, one mother asks you to step out into the hallway for a minute. You should A. Step out to talk to her. You are close enough to hear if there is a problem. B. Ask one of the parents you know real well to stay with the kids while you talk in the hallway. C. Advise the mom you want to hear what she has to say but cannot leave the children unattended. D. Send one of the children to the director's office to let your classroom teacher know you need assistance. Answer. C. Advise the mom you want to hear what she has to say but cannot leave the children unattended. At no time should you leave the children unattended. If a parent wants to talk to you in private and you are alone with children, let the parent know what they have to say to you is important, but you cannot leave the children. Ask the parent if they can wait a minute until you have backup, or schedule a time to talk when you can do so without jeopardizing the safety of the children. One aspect of professionalism is maintaining open communication with parents and families. All of the following are examples of communication processes except A. Holding parent conferences. B. Sending home newsletters. C. Having informal exchanges during arrivals and dismissals. D. Networking with other childcare providers. Answer. D. Networking with other childcare providers. Open communication, while maintaining confidentiality standards, with parents and families can improve programs and services. Educators can conference with parents in formal or informal meetings. Information can be communicated by newsletters, emails, or on a website. Networking with other providers helps the educator find professional support and exchange ideas for programs and resources. A 3-year-old in your class uses profanity while playing in the block area with other students. Another student immediately tells you of this situation. You should A. Put the child in timeout for at least 15 minutes. B. Call the child's parents to come and get him. C. Explain to this student that the word he chose to use is not an acceptable word for school. D. Tell him if he does it again, you will wash his mouth out with soap. Answer. C. Explain to this student that the word he chose to use is not an acceptable word for school. Children at this age are experimenting with their world. If they hear language, they might not always know it's not acceptable, and, if they do, they may test you to see if you think it is. Being kind, fair and consistent is the way to address these kinds of digressions. Don't make idle threats or use humiliation, just remind the student it's not an acceptable way to talk in school. Betty is a child who likes to get attention from her teachers. She will misbehave in order to get your attention, and it's causing many disruptions in your classroom. What should you do to help Betty become a better functioning citizen of your classroom? A. Take the time to recognize and encourage Betty when she's following class rules and doing a nice job. B. Put her in timeout every time she misbehaves. C. Say no firmly and mean it whenever she does something she should not. D. Keep her in from recess whenever she acts out. Answer. A. Take the time to recognize and encourage Betty when she's following class rules and doing a nice job. While at first it may seem counterintuitive, if you devote the time to catching Betty being good and verbally acknowledge her for making the correct choices in your classroom, you will see her working hard to get that positive feedback from you, especially once she sees her negative behaviors will not elicit the desired response. Of course, when she truly misbehaves, you must follow your standard practice for misbehavior. Of the choices below, which is the best place to store your first aid kit? A. In the teacher's desk. B. In the director's office. C. On the wall near the door. D. In the supply cabinet in your room. Answer: C. On the wall near the door. The first aid kit should be stored in a visible and prominent place in the room and should be clearly marked. Mounting it on the wall near the main doorway and out of reach of the students will allow adults to easily find and access the kit. Having to leave the room to get it from a remote location or search through a desk can waste valuable time in a true emergency situation. A child in your class shares with you that her father hit her last night. You ask her a few simple questions, without probing, and it appears he spanked her for not eating her dinner. The child shows you where she was hit on the side of her leg and there don't appear to be bruises. You should A. Ignore it. Children often make up stories. B. Call the father and ask him why he spanked her. C. Talk to your director to get her input and document the conversation for the child's file. D. Call the police. Answer: C. Talk to your director to get her input and document the conversation for the child's file. As a mandated reporter, you must, at the very least, advise your director and document the situation. Your director will have input and will decide if it should be reported. However, most states do not consider a spanking that leaves no marks abuse. Documenting the situation and being aware of it going forward will allow you to see a pattern of behavior, if there is one, or give you the chance to show an escalation in behavior if that becomes necessary. A caregiving agency must maintain confidentiality for information concerning the children and families which it serves. Which is the best practice which will help the agency maintain confidentiality when parents visit the program? A. Only allow the parents to observe their own child in isolation. B. Inform all parents of the agency's confidentiality policies. C. Only allow parents to visit at specific times. D. Post the confidentiality code somewhere in the program areas. Answer: B. Inform all parents of the agency's confidentiality policies. Confidentiality policies should be communicated and explained to parents when children are placed in the program. Parents may want to observe their child interacting with others, and it should be understood that they should not share information about other children. Private issues should not be discussed with parents other than the child's own. Tammy falls down while playing on the playground. She is crying and has a small scratch. The other children are very concerned about her. What can you do to foster a sense of community with the children? A. Tell them Tammy will be fine and to go play. You need to help Tammy cover her scratch. B. Tell Tammy she will be fine and that she is very brave. Compliment her for not crying. Babies cried, but she's a big girl now. C. Tell the children that Tammy will be fine and that you are going to clean her cut for her. Ask them if they have ever had a scratch. What did their mom or dad do for them? Ask Tammy to tell them how she is feeling. D. Ignore it. It's just a scratch and you don't want to give too much attention to it. If you do, Tammy will become more upset. Answer: C. Tell the children that Tammy will be fine and that you are going to clean her cut for her. Ask them if they have ever had a scratch. What did their mom or dad do for them? Ask Tammy to tell them how she is feeling. By involving the other children, explaining to them Tammy is not seriously injured and engaging them in the process of helping her to feel better, you are helping them learn empathy and compassion. A candidate for endorsement by the CDA must prepare a professional portfolio. The portfolio should include various documents, a resource collection, 6 competency statements and a professional philosophy statement. Which best describes a professional philosophy statement? A. A series of statements which prompt you to express your beliefs and feelings about childcare. B. A statement of your personal understanding and beliefs about children, learning and families. C. A statement of your professional qualifications for pursuing work as an early childhood educator. D. A statement of your personal experiences as an educator. Answer. B. A statement of your personal understanding and beliefs about children, learning and families. A statement of your personal philosophy about early childhood education should reflect your feelings, experiences and understanding of children, learning, and families. To prepare your statement, you might use a series of prompts which will help you organize and compose your statement. According to the NAEYC Code of Ethical Conduct, which of the following is the primary responsibility of the caregiver? A. Value each child's culture and language. B. Avoid harming children in any way. C. Provide an environment which is cognitively stimulating. D. Support the family structure. Answer. B. Avoid harming children in any way. The first responsibility of all caregivers is to do no harm. Caregivers should not participate in any practices which will physically, mentally, emotionally or socially harm children in their care. They should participate in practices which keep children safe, secure, and respected. The other choices reflect other ethical behaviors for educators. A parent arrives in the morning and tells you that her child has been up since 4 a.m. when a smoke alarm went off in their home. It was a false alarm, but the child was wide awake and couldn't get back to sleep. The mother asks that you keep her awake until the regular nap time so as not to upset their evening and nighttime routines. At about 9 o'clock, the 2-year-old starts nodding off. Nap time is after lunch. What should you do? A. Let the child sleep. Her mother will never know. When her parents are expected, make sure that she is up and ready for departure. Keep the record confidential for the day. B. Engage her in an activity or take her for a walk in the fresh air. Keep her awake at all costs. C. Call the child's mother and ask her what you should do. If she still insists on keeping the child awake, take her for walks in the fresh air, give her a snack or wash her hands and face in cold water. D. Attempt to engage her in the daily activities. If she falls asleep before nap time, explain to her mother that you did what you could to keep her awake but did not want to unduly upset her. Suggest some relaxing activities they might try to get the child to bed at her regular bedtime. Answer. D. Attempt to engage her in the daily activities. If she falls asleep before nap time, explain to her mother that you did what you could to keep her awake but did not want to unduly upset her. Suggest some relaxing activities they might try to get the child to bed at her regular bedtime. It is sometimes difficult to follow parent directions when a child is very tired. A sleepy child can be cranky and unsettle a whole group. It is best to do what you can to follow requests but keep to the regular schedule as well as you can. If the child falls asleep even with your best efforts, inform the parents and suggest some relaxation activities for bedtime. Where should cleaning supplies be stored? A. Under the sink. B. In the supply closet. C. Out of reach of children. D. Down the hall. Answer. C. Out of reach of children. Cleaning supplies must be out of the reach of the children and separated from food and medicine. Sitting at the table for meals and sitting on the floor while reading are two great ways you can. A. Communicate with children at eye level. B. Relax during the workday. C. Have a snack and joke with children. D. Teach them to wait their turns. Answer. A. Communicate with children at eye level. A warm, caring child care provider communicates with children at eye level. Reading a book to children while sitting on the floor allows them to look you in the eye while sharing their input on the story. It is easy to have positive interactions during meals if you join them at the table. They will love having your company and you will be able to initiate a lot of wonderful back and forth.